silly stuff they need to see.
That's right. What's going on, fam? Dave Jones here with my man, Uncle Cal. What's going on, sir?
What's up, baby? We boxing hard this morning.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, look, we are here. We are Raps, and that is simply that we are willing and responding as people should. And that's the value that we want to bring. All of us go through situations in life where we may respond or may have been responding wrong. And so we can just this whole podcast was built off us having conversations with ourselves personally and how we say, man, other people need to hear this because we let God kind of get into our whole mix and kind of change up some of our bad habits. And we feel that some of us may need to hear some of the things that we go through to get us to the next level. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Man, God is good, man. Your Thanksgiving was great.
Phenomenal, man. Just loving on people, man. Doing what I do, man.
Yes,
Getting
sir.
to a place of trying to be more humble and loving and caring and just serving. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to serve, man. Just understanding life more, man. How about yours?
Man, it was great. I was able to travel back to Michigan and took my family down there, and all of us, we stayed at the same house and felt like old times. So it was great. Just valuing the opportunity to, even when you're not on the best of terms, just connecting with people. And that was what our last podcast was about,
Right.
getting over our past hurts and struggles and willing to respond out of love so that we don't have to be so isolated in this time. So today, what I want to talk about, or we decided to discuss, it came from a conversation we had the other week. And it's basically, we're going to ask the question, how do I get more progress out of life? Many of us may be in a situation that we feel that we're stuck, that we're stagnant, that we aren't moving as fast as we should. And whatever it is that we want to be, do, or have, be it a relationship, be it in our goals, be it in our career assignments, things of that nature. And there's some things that I think will come out of this conversation that can help us all get further than where we are to the place that we want to be. And so it was a topic that we kind of had. It was like, and I want you to kick it after this, Cal. It was gifted with no progress. Yeah. Gifted with no progress. Tell me what you think about that, man.
Well, man, you know, with a lot of things, when we come up with these topics and we think on things we want to talk about, man, it kind of put me in a mindset to think about things I done been through or things we done been through together, man. And this particular topic put me in a mindset to think about me and you, some of our conversations that we had, and us just like motivating each other along the way to get to where we either at or we trying to go.
Yes, sir.
And just, you know, piggybacking off each other like brothers supposed to do. And I think that's one of the things, you know, a lot of brothers don't have that they need, just people they can lean on and talk to and get sound advice, not what they just need to hear. I mean, not what they want to hear, but what they need to hear, whether it's, you know, something they want to hear or something they just need to hear, because everything we need to hear ain't always what we want to hear.
Right.
So I know, like, talking about this topic, I know it makes me think about some of your strengths and some of my weakness, and vice versa. Some of my strengths and some of your weakness, where we talk about, you know, hey, well, Dave, you know what, I'm trying to get there, man. Like, you know, I love where you at, you know what I'm saying, with your love for people and just being able to just, you know, pour into people and seeing people's talents and help strengthen and pulling it out of them. And, you know, with me on the flip side, you know, being that you know what I'm saying, I've been a employer just like you. And, you know, I was, but on the flip side, being that I come from the streets with it, and just, you know, in the streets, it's just like, hey, your word is everything. Without your word in the streets, you ain't making no money. You know what I'm saying? And like, and I carried that over into, like, you know, the legit side of the world. And, you know, it's just like people don't operate in the same principles. You know, they're not very timely. Their word ain't as, you know what I'm saying, it's on point as it should be, and so on and so forth. And, you know, I took that same hardcore ace trying to stand on a person mentality that I would take in the streets, in the workplace, and it don't work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I know sometimes you would say to me, hey, man, you know, my ability to pull the trigger, you know what I'm saying, ain't as fast as yours. You know, you get an idea, Cal, and you see you want to do something, and you just go at it and run with it.
Exactly.
And then you have the same great abilities that I have as far as ideas and this and the third, but the hesitation sometimes come up, or the jumping around, trying so many different things, which I have a problem with too. And then you just take on so much to where you're giving a little bit of this attention, a little bit of that attention, and then you kind of everywhere. Like they say, you're a jack of all trades, but a master of none.
Right.
You got so many irons in the fire, everything just sizzling, but ain't nothing really burning.
Right.
So I think today that's pretty much what we're going to kick it about. Just like kind of giving people the understanding that sometimes when you look at where people at in life and you think they got so much money and they got so much going on, it's something else you need to look at in them to tap into to help you understand what it is that's got them successful. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because it ain't always the thing you think when you see the quote unquote understanding the money they got coming in, or, you know, the elevation of, you know, their finances or where their business at or how they got to where they're going. It's some things you need to tap into to understand how did they get there. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't just like they know hell of a person. It's principles to everything.
Exactly. You know, and I want to jump in here because I think one of the biggest beautiful parts about this community that we build in this podcast is our ability to be transparent. Mm-hmm. And we're not on here trying to be religious at all. Matter of fact, and that's one of the things religion has done, is made us feel that the person that's communicating has to have some level of perfection. And when they mess up, that you can't no longer hear their voice. But mentorship is taking perfect wisdom from an imperfect person. And so there's some things that we have gone through, and I'm going to bring it back to say this with transparency. There's a lot of success that I've had in my life, but a season here that I'm recently coming out of, and you're kind of alluding to it, was where you can get into a season of being paralyzed for various reasons. Mine in particular was having so many different options on the table and having an opportunity to where I could decide to pick, what I wanted to do. And therefore it was like you stuck in this little with this wilderness of not just moving forward or executing on the one thing, because you so gifted and there's so many things that you could do, you never land on the one thing. And that's to a certain person out there. So I was basically in a season that I felt like everybody was moving further than I was. And you know, you can have a certain front and people can remember you from past experiences, past success, but everybody goes through a valley. You know, it's kind of like the stock market, like everything, sometimes things go up and down. Yeah. And you don't know people's struggles in life or what they're going through. And so that's why you should never spend your time envying somebody else, because we all in the position that we got to create. We all in the position that we got to go through the frustration of opposition and weaknesses, or seasons where the enemy come and attack us, or we have some behaviors that are baked in us that we just can't seem to shake. And so it causes me to go into a deep dive and to see, well, what is it that has not caused me to take this next step and to build this progression of success? And there's some things that I'm learning as I'm developing so much material. And even this is even part of the process of coming out of that valley, where I'm just stepping with being incomplete and saying, hey, there is weaknesses that I have, but at the same time, God has downloaded some stuff to me that I could see in my downtime because I had to face what was wrong. And one of the things that I want to bring in my part of the conversation is the ability to be focused on a certain thing. One of the things that causes many people to be stagnated, again, with me, having too many options, that you do everything at the same time and you move in incremental steps in 12 different things, as opposed to putting all that energy into one focus and beginning to go forward, to move forward, to punch through that thing that it is that you know that you can create. And so if I had to look at it, and then you have to go through the process of the frustration of being able to produce in that particular area. And so why I love so much Cal is because, well, it's like I told him even the other day, like, bro, we got to stay focused. We always talk about imperfect action. There's so many things that we can see that we can make this podcast better, but it's not about that. We're going to figure out how to get 1% better every time we get on. And if we be here consistent enough, we look up 50 more episodes down, we would have discovered what our voice is. We would have discovered, you know what I'm saying, the people that God placed an ear towards us that he could have communicated to, even in our thought process that it wasn't quite good enough. And so understanding that the law works, that if you just give effort, result is the opposite of that thing. That's the equation. It's results, or effort equals results. And that's kind of how I'm walking in this thing, and we making it happen.
Man, that was so good, man. I took so much from that, man. And A lot of what you're saying is the same thing I'm struggling with, man. And I think, like you said, it's the good thing about this podcast, man. I think people are able to really look at themselves and examine themselves and really pay attention to the things that they need to focus on when it comes to themselves, when they can listen to people that can use themselves as an example. So
yeah,
I want to applaud you for that. I want to applaud myself for that because, man, people are so prideful nowadays. They real funny about letting people in their world and letting them know, hey, I don't have it all together. And hey, I struggle with this or I struggle with that, you know, and that's why I think God gonna do so much with this because he softened both of our hearts to know that, hey, I'm gonna allow y'all to be transparent. I'm gonna allow y'all to be open. I'm gonna allow y'all to be in a judge-free zone and not feel no type of way because y'all understand what it's like to be boxed up in a world where you really can't say what it is because you're scared about what somebody else think. You know, so I'm glad I wasn't never the guy that just tried to run with the crowd. I wasn't never the guy that cared so much about what other people thought about me. And a lot of that is contributed to my childhood where, you know, I struggled so much, you know what I'm saying, with just being broke. My parents strung out on drugs, so on and so forth. And I just took that same mindset of coming up. It's like, man, no matter where you get in life, you got to understand that you came from nothing and it's easy to go back to nothing. So you got to keep a humble spirit to the point of knowing that, hey, what you care about what this guy think, because he wasn't nowhere when you was eating them mayonnaise sandwiches when you was younger and you was out raking leaves and carrying bags and doing everything you had to do to make ends meet because your parents wasn't there. So don't never get so high on your horse that you can't, you know what I'm saying, you can't look down. You know what I'm saying? You got to stay humble. And I think that's what, you know, I think that's where the church, you know what I'm saying, missing it at. Some people, they get in the point where they feeling like, I go to church, man, they so busy, you know, the preachers and the this and the that, acting like they holier than thou, and they talking at me and they this and that. And, you know, that's the thing where, you know, I think people make a lot of excuses for church too. But I think that's one of the things that go on with church where people like, man, they want to feel like, you know, that they being grown with instead of talked at.
Right.
So, you know, I'm in the process of battling with that too. Like a lot of people out here, you know, I'm in between businesses trying to figure out what my next move is. You know, I went through when the pandemic hit with the shop on Davidson, you know, I realized how much of a depression it had me in, you know, trying to run that shop every day with the turnover and employees, how often employees turned over and, you know, just trying to find good help. I always thought before I opened the business that if you provide a nice, clean, professional looking place to work in, that people will want to love to come work in it because you provide opportunities. But that ain't the case, you know. And if I could give a piece of advice to anybody that's looking to open a business or looking to run a business, I would tell them, hey, whatever you get into, make sure you can run it by yourself and have people to come in and assist you. Don't look for people to come work for you. Look for people to come assist you, because at the point that they come in and feel like, hey, they running your business, that's at the point where they don't appreciate the opportunity no more. So I would tell people, you know, if you open a business, make sure you go on that thing knowing it from the rooter to the tutor. Make sure that before you hire anybody, you can run it inside and out. Make sure if you're a barber if you somebody trying to open a salon, because I did that before on 7 Mile Myers, Glass House Beauty Salon. If you do it, I wasn't a barber and I wasn't a hairdresser, but I didn't learn from that. I went on to opening a mechanic shop because I love cars. And I tinker with cars, alternators, batteries, you know, tires, do small stuff to change oil, but I wasn't a major mechanic. And I learned that when you're not a major mechanic, that's another business you don't want to be in. So now with me, you know, going through like I say, the pandemic and seeing how stressed out I was, I decided to hand that business over. So now I'm in transition of trying to figure out my next move, and I'm making sure my next move is the same advice I'm giving. You know, I'm making sure that I go into something that I can run single-handed by myself or with family members, and then I can bring people in to assist me. That way, hey, if you want to take a day off, ain't no pressure. If you don't want to come to work and you decide this ain't the opportunity for you, no problem. There's the door. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be in a position where you understand that if people can stop your money or feel like they can't make more money than you in your own business, it sounds crazy, then they really don't want to work for you.
Right.
So you got to be in a position where they feel like, you know what I'm saying, they need you as much as you need them. It's got to be an even playing ground.
Right. And that's the power of going through stuff is the power of team and being able to advance if you collectively work. There's a power in synergy. So just to bring it back home, we're talking about those of us who are gifted, and all of us are gifted. That's the thing. You know that you have gifts. You know that you have talents, and you know that you can. You know that when you look at other people and the success that they have, you say, I know I could do that. I should be able to do that. Mm-hmm. And then it starts to turn. If you're honest to yourself, you start to have an insecurity or self-doubt begins to creep in because you haven't progressed as fast as you could. And again, this is to anything in life, anything that you want to be, do, and have. It could be in your marriage. It could be in, like I say, in creating business. It can be in whatever. The concept or the principle is the same. You know that you should be further. So the question we got to say is, why am I so gifted with no progress? And I think one of the things that we want to point out to is one concept of a character trait. It's called discipline. And anytime you operate a behavioral trait of discipline, it has to create results. It has to create some type of outcome or mastery in a particular area. And anything that I think we endeavor to get into that we try, we got to ask ourselves this question. If I don't want to be the top 10% of it in the world, I shouldn't even go ahead and do it, because you would not have the passion. You would just be testing stuff out and therefore begin to continue to waste time. Here in this podcast where I know that I have a passion to speak into the life of people. I have a passion to see somebody else click. Sometimes even more so than my own. I always want to connect with somebody. I want to link up and be that help meet, if for lack of a better word. And so this is something that I know that I want to do, even though I can see that it needs to be better than it is right now. The reality is it's going to be, if I could just stay disciplined on the thing that I want to do, whatever that is for you, as I begin to tell my story. And so the concept of discipline, I want to read the principle where I got it from. Most things I get from, even though we get principles from men all over, the ones I like to point out to are the ones that we see in the word. It talks about discipline. And I want to pull up the scripture real quick so we can see it. It says, Hebrews 12:11, it says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but a matter of fact, it's actually painful. But watch this switch. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. By what? By discipline. When you decide to do something over and over, and discipline is doing things that you don't want to do. When you decide to discipline yourself to do things that you don't want to do, the things that you want to feel like doing something else, but you know you need to get in that gym. You know you need to go apologize to your spouse. You know you need to go knock out that other spreadsheet. Whatever it is, when you discipline yourself enough times and go through that frustration of just punching through it, what happens is that you build a muscle. You build a resistance where your body says, okay, I see we're not going to run away from this feeling, so let me adapt to this concept. Let me figure out how to attract the things and make this thing easier for me and go through it. And so that scripture is telling us it's unpleasant. But if you just keep showing up, if you just keep coming back, you will create what you call a habit. And a habit is the root word for a habitat or a place of rest. And your habits now is your place of comfortability. So that thing that took you a hard time to get up and go to the gym before, now it's like, I can't even go a day without going to the gym, because discipline has trained me to be comfortable in a place that what seemed to be hard before is now my comfort zone. And so the thing that I'm getting in this season is just the principle is just to go. Stay with it. Give yourself a season of 30, 50, a year, or whatever it is, of just doing the thing that you are dreading. But behind that thing that you're dreading, you know is your mastery. You know is your genius. You know is that thing that you silently are envying in somebody else. Go aggressively. Fight the frustration and do that thing, and watch discipline produce a level of peace for you, because you're going to be trained by it.
Wow, man. We might go over a couple of minutes because you said so much I want to tap on. You know, that's the key. I think that's the key to my success, bro. You know, from me, like I say, having such a rough childhood and not being able to have a lot of things that people had, and not being able to be at a lot of little parties and different things. When I got older, I was already so used to not be in the who's and the what's and the wins. Yeah. It was easy for me to fall back and do something different. And it allowed me to have a lot of discipline. See, and that's the key to, like what you were saying, that's the key to everything, discipline. Yeah. Because if you ain't structured enough to set your eyes on the prize and go at it, then you're in trouble. So that was real good, man. And like I said before, on one of the last, I say this in the last podcast and a few other times, the key to it is, when you go through them up and down times, like you say, the stock market do, them ups, them rises and them falls. Yep. When you at that fall, those are times for you to get quiet. Those are times where God give you his plan. Those are times when you get your best thoughts for you to write them down. And what you got to do is have enough discipline to say, when I get that money, I got my plan. I'm going to go at it. You know what I'm saying? And make sure you don't get detoured trying to run back to that party, trying to run back to this and run back to that. And I think that's what the pandemic did for a lot of people, man. I think being at a shut down and having to be in a position where they had to just find themselves, learn themselves, be to themselves, be in the house. I think it put a lot of, structure in people. I think it put a lot of discipline on people, but it's almost like, when I went before a judge one time, man, these police pointed a pistol on me, man. And that's a story. Well, I might as well kick it real quick. Long story short, they took about $40,000 off me. I was over my cousin's house. I was trying to go get my car at the impound yard. I had some money on me, and the impound yard is right down the street. So I said, I'm gonna sit here because the impound yard hadn't opened yet. They end up raiding his house while I was there. Long story short, they find a gun in the house. I got the most money in the house on me, so they put the gun on me. They asked me, did I want to claim the money? I knew the money was legit, so I said, yeah, I want to claim the money. As soon as I said I want to claim the money, they took the gun and threw it on the table and said, there go your pistol too. And I'm like, what you mean? They was like, that's your money, that's your gun. I'm like, bro, come on, man, don't do that. They booked me, took me in. You know what I'm saying? I ended up fighting that case like 3 times before it kind of settled out and took a turn for the best. But long story short is, with that story is, dang, what did I tell that story for? Long story short, with that story is when I went through that case and was fighting that case, it was a downtime for me because I'm like, man, this is crazy, And I spent a lot of time fighting that case, and I was just sitting still. So it put me in a place where I just had to think on like strategies and moves and different things I could do to prove my innocence. Right. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the fellas, they wasn't all totally legit, so they didn't want to come and step up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? A couple of them did, but for the most part, they didn't want to come step up to the plate. So I ended up fighting that thing, and while I was going through it, God was showing me a lot of things that I need to deal with for me. And when I came from under it, I was asking God, what was the lesson in this? You know what I'm saying? What was the lesson in this? And God was showing me that, a lot of times when you're waiting on something to open, you got to watch where you at. You got to watch your surroundings. You can't be in a place where your money look illegit when it's legit, because sometimes we're a product of our environment. I know, and the people I was with knew that I was just waiting for the impound to open so I can go get my car at the impound, and I needed somebody to ride with me that was close by. But to the police, when they came there, they looking at the area I'm in with this type of money. So to them, they look like, oh no, this got to be illegit money. But when I took my buyout papers down there from General Motors, they gave me the money back. So I'm saying that to say a lot of times when we're in a dark place where we shouldn't be, we got to take time to pull a lesson out of that situation to help us understand what it is I'm supposed to get from this. Why did this happen to me? Because a lot of times when we go through like financial difficulties, we don't take the time to capitalize off them financial difficulties and say, this is the time for me to make the plan. We look at it like, God, why you cursing me like this? Everything was going good. What's happening? I don't know why this dried up on me, why that dried up on me. When really God is closing the door for you so you can open it, so you can open another one. But if we don't know that and we don't get to understand that, then we just think we just got the worst luck.
That's right. So, and I think even in what you're saying is like when we in our failures is where we can learn the most. That's the best teacher. Like when we're in a position that things are coming against us, we have to take it as opportunity. Once we get over it emotionally, like what am I supposed to learn out of this? And that's where the growth. It's like when you fall, when you're trying to learn how to walk, when you drop down and hit that knee, I can't lean to the left like that no more. I got to get my balance a little bit different. So it's not time to sit there and mope and complain and say, well, it's me, and take this whole the world is against me and I'm not good enough, because that's what happened. We get into these positions that we start to depressed. And people don't understand it. We'll talk about this, I'm sure, in another topic. Depressing is where you do it to yourself. Oppression, systematic oppression, when something outside of us causes us to be limited in our ability to produce, whether it be government or police, whatever. Depression, that's self-done. That's when you take your own thoughts and say, I am not good enough. Mm-hmm. And you look at some mistakes that we all have, and you decide, or I decide to say, I am not. And the moment we start to speak those things in our life, we have to perform whatever we self-define ourselves as. So our lack of progress, our being in a position that we know that we have these gifts and talents, but we aren't moving, we have to be tactical to fight how we work mechanistically, if I could use that. We are like a mechanism, and whatever we say to ourselves, we have to become. And so when you are down, you look at those failures and say, God, okay, what is it I'm supposed to get out of this? I screwed up here, or I'm in this valley. Where am I supposed to learn? And like we talked about this visual imagery of the stock markets and the chart, you could be up and down, but there could be an upward trend. If you know that there's an upward trend, you're okay with taking those down recessions, right? Because you know that you're gonna get hit at the floor, and then that floor is you're gonna bounce back up. And so if we can stay in a position that I think to get discipline, you have to be focused. You have to focus on what you want to do and not change your mind about what it is that you want. And that's where the whole concept of faith come in at. When you give up on the thing that you saw, the thing that you know that you can be, you give up on what's in you. And then we jump to that other thing. But no more switching. Let's pick something and let's just be committed. Let's pick something. Let's be consistent. Let's pick something and produce it. And produce it in our own life. Even if opposition comes against us, even if our spouse ain't responding like we want them to respond when we're trying to give better characteristics, don't make them the reason that you give up on the vision that you see of that happy home of people who actually love each other. When the industry don't give you the money that you think you need to start that business, don't say that they are the end all of what you can produce. Go somewhere else. God got something else. You may not have been ready at that time. You might need to hear no a couple more times so you can prove to God or to yourself that we actually want it. Can we go through frustration? Can we go through opposition? We are gifted, but in order to get to that next level, we have to stay committed to the process, and that discipline will produce a character in us. And then we'll be able to we are willing. We take our will and respond as we should. And that's just what we're talking about. I take my will to say, I'm going to go through this mess. Even though I want to be comfortable, flop on the couch, relax, right? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm about to go back in here and fight. I'm about to go back in and fight for this thing that I see. And I'm not going to go jump on the next train about what's the next shiny object. No, this is what I saw. This is what I believe. This is what my faith is telling me. And I am willing to go through the frustration to produce that thing in my life.
Wow, you're on fire today, man. That was good, man. Like you said, and when those doors get closed and on finances, man, which a lot of us go through, you know what I'm saying? I hate to pull this card, but I got to do because it's real, especially us as blacks, man. I see opportunities that we just don't get, man. I see these guys putting these great big buildings over here off 96. They just put a carpenter school up, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like I see them doing stuff that like you don't never see black people doing. You don't never see black people putting up these big industrial buildings and getting the financing for it. And then if it don't work out, shut it down and go somewhere and do it again in the next couple of years. We just don't get those opportunities. So I get it when like doors get slammed in your face and you go to get a loan to try to start your business. You finally got the motivation and the plan together and it don't happen and you get frustrated and you want to give up. But guess what? That's what faith is. Yeah. That's when you operating your true belief in God. You know what I'm saying? Faith, you know what I'm saying, is a hope and evidence of things not seen. And once they produce for you and you get them, then it just elevates your faith to know that God is with you, because you can't let a door get slammed on you when you know you're supposed to be doing something and you give up on it. That's a lack of faith, because that's when the devil started to come in. He started to work on you, give you doubt, make you feel like it's not for you, make you feel like your idea was stupid, make you feel like, well, maybe this ain't what I really supposed to be doing, you know. And then one more thing I want to touch on, man. If you ever want to become wealthy, you got to make sure you're willing to make a few people rich. You gotta be willing to see a lot of people get on. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get on, and that's the only way God gonna really open doors for you and put you in a position where you are blessed, and you can obtain wealth when he know that he can give it to you and you're willing to release it to others.
Yeah.
If you looking to get money all for you and yours, you got a problem from the start. So just be happy for people, man. Love on people. If you want something, if you want God to really do something for you, and it's something I've been practicing. I ain't been telling nobody about it, but I'm gonna cut y'all in on the secret, because I need God to do some things so big for me, and I'm in a position where my next couple of moves got to be my best moves, because I'm getting tired, kind of like what you were saying, Dave. I done tried so much, and I done jumped around to different businesses to where I'm just sick of running around. I'm getting to the point where it's like I'm getting more relaxed, and you know what I'm saying, in life. I just want things to flow smooth, and I just don't want to be running around trying a bunch of stuff no more. I'm just ready to just climax and let whatever I got going work for me. So you got to be in a position where you got to give your way to the top. You got to give your way to the top.
Yes, sir.
I've been sowing seeds in people's life and giving people money and doing different things for people. Just doing. I'm about to do my way to the top. I'm about to do my way into a big blessing.
Yes, you go.
You got to be in a position where to whom much is given, much is expected. You want it, you got to give it.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And you can't get scared looking at your finances, worried about, oh man, I keep doing this, man. I'm gonna be, oh, it's gonna be tight. No, don't worry about it.
Right.
That's a lack of faith.
Yeah.
That's a lack of faith.
Yeah.
If you want it, you gotta give it.
Yeah. It's, man, wow. It's there's so many things that will potentially stop our progress, and hopefully you guys are picking up something out of this. But what I picked up out of what you were just saying is, how you want the people that you connect to, you want to see them blessed, and you want to see them get, and the wisdom is that I learned this from my father. He says you cannot attract what you resent. So if you can't see nobody else, if it bores you to see somebody else make money, you can't attract making money yourself.
Whoa.
If it bores for you
real.
to see somebody else happy in their relationship and they're happy, you can't attract that. If it bores you to see somebody else getting on, like you have to celebrate the thing that you want. And that's telling your subconscious reality, this is what I'm after. And it's only after the thing that you think is good for everybody. It just can't be good for you, because that ain't how we work out. We are humankind. That means we are of the same kind, no race, no nothing. We are just one kind, and we are creative beings that were created by the Creator. And we have that same ability to reproduce in the earth. And so the things that we want to attract, we have to celebrate. We have to sow into. We have to lift up. We have to say, hey, everybody, look at this person. I bless them because I want that same blessing in my life. If God do it for them, he'll do it for me. And then you'll see God begin to rest with you, and he'll show you how to work that thing or form that thing in your own life. But if you're saying that you don't want it for that person, it's hard for you to figure out how to do it for yourself. And so I just think this is so good, man. We got to be willing to respond correctly in any situation. Go find the people that's doing it. Sit under them. Celebrate them. You know what I'm saying? Call somebody that you otherwise would have hated on prior to this conversation and say, man, you know what? Before I had some issues, man, but I'm really happy that you was able to overcome that hurdle that you went through. And I wish you and your wife, or I wish you and your business, or I wish you and your health that much more success in this process. This is something that I'm seeking for in my life. And so help me, pray with me. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is, just send that good love out there so that we can begin to get in the realm that God operates in. It's about, he created all of us. So how could he show love for you and not like them? So you can't figure that you on God's side if you hating something that he created. So those things don't really work, regardless if they do stupid stuff. That ain't your assignment to judge them. That's where that come from. If whatever I'm going through, when I'm going through stupid crap, I need God to look at me the same as his child, that he gonna love me unconditionally. So if God gonna love me unconditionally and patiently wait for me, he's gonna love that other person unconditionally and patiently wait for him. So it'll be stupid for me to talk about that person. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to celebrate their ignorance, but at the same time, you can say, hey, whatever it is good about that thing, I'm going to focus on that and congratulate them on that, because that thing that they doing good, I need that. I need that.
What you say, you ain't got to finance their foolishness. Man. Well, we over, man. We over 14 minutes, man. We appreciate y'all, man. Actually over for almost 20 minutes. We appreciate y'all. Like when we get in the flow, man, if y'all listen, we appreciate it. If y'all check out in 5, 10, 2 minutes, we appreciate y'all even, paying attention. We hope y'all get something out of this. It's a wrap.
Yes,
we out of here. You want me to close it in prayer, Dave?
Yes, sir, man. Lock us out.
Okay. Father God, we come to you humbly, God, through your son, Jesus Christ, God. We said, God, You do the best, God, your best, and we'll do the rest, God. And your best is just simply waking us up this morning, God. So we thank you for waking us up this morning, God, allowing us to breathe your fresh air, God, and we're going to do the rest, God. We're going to serve you, God, let you know we understand that we have purpose on this earth, God. Let you know, God, that we're willing to walk in our purpose, God. Be willing to show us our talents, God, our abilities, things that we're supposed to be doing to get finances, God, to be better fathers to our children, to be better friends, God. Allow us to correct the things, God, that's imperfect about ourselves, and allow us to just get better, God. We're not asking to be perfect, God. We know there's no man walking this earth that is perfect, God. But God, we want to be better, God. We want to be better friends. We want to smile more. We want to go into this new year happy, God. God, we want to ask Detroit to be more supportive of each other, God. Lift up our rappers, our singers, our R&B artists coming out of the city, everybody that's just trying to do something in the city, God. Let us be more supporting to the city, God. Let us be more loving to our brothers, God. Let us stop this black on black crime, this black on black violence, God. Let our brothers look at another brother and look at him and just be happy for him, God. Like how he dressed, God. Not be scared to compliment another brother when he looking good, God. Not for sisters, God, to just keep pulling together and praying for our brothers, God, praying for our children, God. We just want to applaud our sisters, God, raising these young men, single, God, and just doing the best they can, God. We ask that more fathers step up, God, and be better fathers, God, be better examples, role models, God, and even take other young men under their hands, God, that need some guidance, and just show them structure, show them love. Let these men get love so they understand love, so they won't be quick to be so violent to one another, God. So we just thank you for everything you're doing in this world, God. Through your son, Jesus Christ, we pray, amen.
Amen. Hey, guys, like, share, subscribe, listen to it multiple times if any of this helped you, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, sir. We appreciate y'all. Love, man.
It's a wrap, baby.
You was on fire today, Dave, baby.
Likewise, sir.
I needed you.
Yes, sir, man. In a minute, Doc.
For sure. Take care, bro.